Hey, what's up guys? It's Cliff from Note Cycles, and today we're putting in a Sony 7000 bundle in this beautiful 2018 Harley-Davidson Street Glide Special. Our Sony 7000 Harley-Davidson plug-and-play bundle is compatible with 2014 plus Harley-Davidson touring motorcycles. However, it is not compatible with the CVO models. So why a Sony 7000 bundle for your Harley? Well, there's lots of practical reasons. The Sony 7000 has a vastly improved interface technology, also improved audio performance. It has a 100 watt by 4 internal amplifier, which will definitely bring more and clearer sound from your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. It's also packed with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And Sony provided us with weather-sealed buttons and a weatherproof anti-glare screen to help in some mild weather conditions. Note Cycles is proud to be a Sony online authorized retailer, bringing you the Sony 7000 bundle for your 2014 plus Harley-Davidson motorcycle, which when you receive it in the mail, it'll already be loaded in its dash kit, ready to drop in your motorcycle. Your wiring harness is going to be professionally made. It's going to be pre-wired, soldered, shrink tubed, and test-taped for a final professional product, again, ready to drop in your motorcycle. All the modules necessary to work flawlessly on your Harley while maintaining your handlebar controls are going to be pre-attached. Our bundle also has a pre-wired remote turn-on so that you can add speakers, amplifiers down the road if you want to expand your system. Installation will take you about an hour in your garage, and today we're going to show you how to do that. So let's get started.
Hey everybody, Brian here with Note Cycles. Today I'm going to be going over how to disassemble your 2014 and up Harley-Davidson touring motorcycle so that you can install our Sony plug-and-play bundle in your garage with some basic hand tools. Some of the tools that you're going to need to do this installation are a small flathead screwdriver, a Phillips-head screwdriver, a T25 Torx screwdriver, a T27 Torx screwdriver, a pop clip removal tool, a 5/32 Allen socket, a 3/16 Allen socket, and a ratchet wrench. All right, so the first thing we're going to do to get started, we're going to use our microfiber towel here. If you don't have a microfiber towel, just use something to protect your fender. We're going to go ahead and lay this over the fender to protect the top of it, protect your painted surface. So now we're going to move around to the inner fairing and start with the disassembly. So we're on the left-hand side of the motorcycle. There's going to be 2 screws on each side of the inner fairing that we need to take out. The first one is going to be down here right above the front turn signal. It's going to be, like I said, a T27. And then the second one is up further, kind of behind the mirror, behind your left hand controls. So both of these need to come out. And then there's also the same screws on the right hand side of the bike as well. There's one. One thing to take note of, you do have 2 different length screws here. So the longer screw is going to be the top hole and the shorter screw is going to go in the bottom hole. All right, so we've removed the 2 screws from the left-hand side, removed the 2 screws from the right-hand side of the inner fairing. Now we're going to move to the front of the motorcycle, and there's 3 T27s here across the windshield that we're going to remove next. All right, so we're going to start with the ones on the outside. And then the one in the center is all that's holding the fairing on. So we're just going to loosen it and kind of support the front with my body. And we're going to go ahead and remove the windshield, still holding the fairing. All right, so at this point we can remove the center bolt, and then we can just guide the outer fairing off. Then the only thing left holding it on is your connection for the headlight, and remove the outer fairing. As an additional note, the bolt that we removed from the center is going to be the longer bolt, and then you have the 2 shorter ones on the side. All right, so now that we've gotten into the fairing of the motorcycle, next thing we're gonna do is take off this fairing vent. So there's 2 screws. There's one here and one over here. Again, this is a T27 Torx. And then this fairing vent will pull straight out towards you. Customer had the antenna stuck to the bottom there. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and start making clearance to get the caddy here out. So we're gonna go ahead and remove these plugs. And to do that, we're gonna use a pop clip removal. Go ahead and pull those back out of the way. All right, so on top of the radio caddy here, you can see there are 4 screws. These are actually gonna be a T25 Torx. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna grab our T25 Torx, and right here under the caddy, there is 1 screw right here that we're gonna go ahead and remove. And then we're also gonna go ahead and remove, there's 3 screws for the gauge cluster. One right here in the top. And one over here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and remove, there's 2 screws here and 2 screws over here. We're gonna use a 5/32 Allen with a ratchet. All right, so now we have the radio caddy loosened up. So to get it completely out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and remove all of the connections off the back of the factory radio. Try a pair of needle nose pliers just to gently pinch. And then we just give it a little pull. All right, so go ahead and pull those out of the way. And then on our factory Harley connector, all we're gonna do is push down, and then this whole thing slides, and then you can just pull it right out. So now that we have all of our other wires out of the way, just give the radio tray a nice little pull, and it will come right out of the way. Along with that, you can see that our main gauge cluster is now loose. All right, we'll grab our small flathead screwdriver and gently pry the tabs back. And release our connection for the gauge cluster, and then we can pull it out of the way. All right, now the next step is there are 4 more bolts, one here in the back. There's actually 4 of them, 2 on each side. We're gonna grab our 3/16 Allen, and we'll go ahead and take these out. All right, now that all of those bolts are out, we can lift the factory head units up and out of the motorcycle. All right, so now we have our motorcycle completely disassembled. We got the factory radio out. Now the fun begins. We're gonna install our new Sony 7000 plug and play bundle. First thing we're gonna do is take the radio and we're gonna gently work it in. To where the factory radio came out of. All right, so now that we have our Sony 7000 in place, we're gonna be reusing the same bolts that we're holding in the factory unit. We're gonna go ahead and start these with our finger. then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make them finger tight with just the Allen, and then we'll give them a small snug with the ratchet. And this is a plastic dash kit, so we don't want to use an impact driver or overly torque it as to not damage the dash kit. So just a little snug, that's all we need. All right, so we're going to go ahead and reinstall our gauge cluster. And then we will work our radio caddy tray back into place. All right, so we have everything lined up. We're going to go ahead and reinstall the 2 screws here in the back of the tray that hold the bottom of the gauge cluster in. And we'll go ahead and reinstall our screw here under the caddy. Now we have the 4 bolts that go in each of the sides here. Make sure we keep the wires out of the way. We don't want wires getting pinched. Provided in the kit that you're going to receive is going to be a small bag of Phillips panhead screws. So we're going to use these small Phillips-head panhead screws right here where we removed the 4 bolts that were holding down the top of the radio caddy. And again, just kind of snug, finger tight almost. All right, so now we have our radio securely in place in the motorcycle. So next thing we're going to cover is how to make the connections. So first thing we're going to do is you see the factory connector from the Harley side. We're going to find the matching connector on our Sony wiring harness here. And this is simply just going to push into place. And then you twist that until you hear the lock. Now, also provided in your kit will be a AM/FM antenna adapter. So the prong end of that is going to go right here in the round hole here at the bottom left side of the radio. So we're going to push that in until it's nice and snug. And then here's the antenna. And we're just going to simply make that connection there. The next connection that we're going to deal with is actually the USB port. So on the back of the head unit here, you'll notice there's USB 1 and USB 2. We're going to utilize USB 1. That's going to give us access to use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all of the functions of the head unit. And to do that, what we're actually going to do is remove the factory USB plug and replace it with the USB extension cable that comes with your Sony kit. All right, so to do that, we're going to remove the factory USB cable that's run through this rubber grommet into the glove box. So all we have to do is remove it from the holder, and then we'll grab a small screwdriver. Basically what we're going to do is we want to kind of compress this rubber grommet and push it towards the inside of the cubby to remove it. Just kind of keep working it with the screwdriver. There we go. All right, so see now we got it loose. So we're going to work this cable through. You see there's the factory USB cord, and we're going to reutilize this grommet, but to do so we're going to take it over to the bench and get a small utility knife, and we're going to cut a slit in it so that we can open this up and get the grommet off of it. All right, so we took the factory USB over here to the bench. We just have a small razor blade here, and we're just going to very gently, just back and forth, all right, so that's what we need. So this is the USB extension cable that comes in the kit. Now keep in mind, this end of the plug is the side that we want in the glove box to be able to connect your charging cord to connect to your phone. And then the male end is where we're going to plug into the back of the Sony radio. So to do that, we're going to move back over to the bike and we'll install the grommet and get this cable installed. So this is the end that we're going to feed back through into the glove box. So we'll go ahead and put our grommet on after this little section here. All right, so straighten the cable out, and then from the inside of the glove box, we're going to feed the USB extension. Here we go. So what we're going to do is just keep pulling the slack until we get our grommet, and then we'll just give it a little wiggle. And you can see it's firmly seated back in place. And then we will take the end of our USB and just simply plug it in. Also recommend, if you have some tape or something, to tape this connection together, just that way it stays more secure, and then you don't have a connection issue later on down the road. So just grab some tape here. Tape that up, that way there's definitely no chance of it coming unconnected. And we'll do a little bit of wire management. Just fold that up nicely. A little zip tie and trim off the end. All right, at this point we can go ahead and re-secure these. Just push right back in on top. All right, so looking at the back of our Sony harness, we have two control modules here, and we'll just talk through quickly what they both do. You'll see one here that has 95, 9700. This is the module that allows your Sony plug-and-play bundle to talk and communicate with your motorcycle. So when you receive your bundle, this one will be connected. We have it shown here of them both connected, but when you receive your bundle in the mail, just the one that says 95, 97 on it will actually be connected. So what we want you to do is start the bike up and power up the system before we connect the second module that says ASWC-1. This ASWC-1 module is your handlebar control module, and this needs to be set up second to allow you to maintain all of your current hand controls with your new Sony bundle. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put the bike into accessory power. One thing to keep in mind here, during the initial boot up, it may take what seems like an extended period of time before anything shows up on the screen, but that is completely normal. All right, so there we see the Sony. Now the first screen that you're gonna come to is just an initial settings where you can choose your language, and then demo mode. Demo mode's just what you would see like if it was on the wall at a store. So all we're gonna do is touch, and we're gonna turn it to off. And then we're gonna go ahead and set our date and time. And today is February the 15th, 2022 at 12:55 p.m. And we've got that set. Now we just hit OK. And this safety message will show up every time you turn your bike on. Now you can either just wait and it'll go away by itself like it just did, or you could hit that close button. All right, so now we're gonna take our ASWC1 module and go ahead and connect it to the wiring harness. All right, so we're at the back of the Sony radio. We're gonna go ahead and plug in our ASWC1. So we're just gonna line up the connector. Now when you plug this in, you should see that light is rapidly flashing. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hold the volume up button, push and hold till the light goes out. You can see the light's gonna start slowly flashing. It's gonna go out one more time. It's gonna go red. And once we get a solid light, go ahead and release the volume. Now that we have a solid light on the ASWC1, we can use our volume controls. As well as all of our hand control functionality. Auto mute. We can cycle. By pushing in, we can cycle through our sources. All right, so at this point, the installation and initialization of the modules is complete. We're gonna go ahead and turn the bike off, and we're gonna finish putting together the outer fairing. All right, so we're gonna reconnect our gauge cluster. You notice there's a locating pin here that's gonna go on the bottom. So we're just gonna push that into place. All right, so we have our fairing vent and the two screws that hold it in. We're gonna go ahead and attach the antenna back. And then there's two slots here in the very side. Those are gonna slide right up in these little tabs. Put this right back in place and secure it. We can go ahead and tuck all of our wiring away. All right, so important step here, don't forget to plug your headlight back in. And then we're gonna make sure everything's nice and tucked away. We're gonna grab the long bolt and go ahead and just start it. So now that our fairing is supporting itself, go ahead and slide the windshield back into place. And we will start the two outer screws. I'm not going to do them all the way until we get them all lined up. All right, get those nice and snug. Now we're going to move around to the other side and we'll go ahead and do the 4 final screws. All right, so we have our long and our short screw here. The short one is going to go here in the bottom and the longer one is going to go up here on the top. Move to the other side and secure the last 2. Now we're on the other side. We're going to secure the last 2. Again, short one on the bottom. and the long one on the top here under the mirror. So we have our Sony 7000 plug and play bundle completely installed. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look and we'll see what you get with your new head unit. All right, so we'll go ahead and switch the bike into accessory power. And we see Sony pops right up. There's a safety message I was saying, and you just hit close to make it go away. So once we're in this screen, you can see this is the AM/FM tuner. So if we hit the little home button right here, this will actually take us back to the home screen of the radio itself. And you can see we have the options of tuner. It is Sirius XM compatible. You have your Bluetooth, which you just have to connect your phone. You can use your phone, and then your USB port. Obviously we don't have a rear camera, and your settings menu. And then we're gonna go ahead and open up our cubby here. I do have a factory Apple cord that we're gonna plug in because I do have an iPhone. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and plug in the phone cable, and we'll go ahead and connect my phone to it. And then we'll go ahead and unlock the phone. And we can see that we are now actually, it automatically pulled up Pandora. So we'll hit the 8 little dots here, and this will take us back to our Apple CarPlay menu. So you can see a lot of different apps, phone, your Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon Music. You have your text messages, Google Maps, Waze, all sorts of different things. Anything that is Apple CarPlay compatible will automatically load on here. So you can see it had already pulled up Pandora. And you can see our hand controls work there. And if we push the home hand control, you can see we can also cycle, and then it'll take us right back to our CarPlay. So one of the benefits of using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with having your phone connected is your phone's actually, it might be hard to see, but the phone is actually charging while you're riding your bike. So not only do you get all of the navigation perks of having navigation through your phone's actually being charged while you're riding. So when you get to wherever you're going, you don't have to worry about the fact that your phone battery is now dead. As you can see, text messages, they pop right up there on the screen. Now, obviously you could pull over and reply to that, or if you don't want to reply, you see the message just simply goes away. But either way, it gives you notification that you did receive a phone call or a message. And then we hit the home and we go back into this screen and quickly and easily go right back to CarPlay. All right, so that wraps up our install of our Sony 7000 plug and play bundle on this 2018 Street Glide Special. If you're interested in one of these for your 14 and up touring motorcycle, head over to the shop at www.notecycles.com and pick one up for your bike today.